It takes a person. When somebody tells you how to do something you can't learn in a book, that person has to be there to help you if, whatever it is. If you can't figure it out from a book, maybe socialization would be an example. You can't learn socialization without being around other people. You can't learn Christ without being around other people. So, when Jesus sent out his disciples to preach the gospel, there was no indication that he would use angels. Even in Paul's case, there was no indication, for Paul wasn't saved on the road to Damascus, that God would intervene outside of human experience. God has, as example in the Bible, used people to teach the good news. That's the only way that he does it. So, I heard somebody say, oh, these people were caught in a mine shaft and they had the Bible with them. Somebody say this crazy story. People were caught in a mine shaft and they had the Bible with them, so they may have been saved. Because, even then they had heard a message, they had the Bible with them. And you can go to church and hear from a preacher, and, it's, for one thing, it's usually not the truth because preachers are liars. They're not gonna. For the most part, you can't learn the gospel from, your average preacher, because, they got a racket going. They don't want to preach the truth. They don't want to preach the gospel. They want to have some religious concert or something like that. They want to have some religious rally. They don't want to teach people the gospel. So people don't know it. It takes people, though. Paul said he didn't care whether it was done for the right motives or wrong motives, but that the gospel was preached. But you have to learn from a person. You can't learn from a study book. Some type of world Bible class or something like that in a church I used to go to. World Bible School. And they'd send out these sheets. They'd fill them out. And somebody would, somebody mail them back to somebody in the United States, like if it was wherever, Africa, India, wherever, China. They'd mail them out, and they'd send them back to them, and they'd grade them, and then say, okay, you're ready for the next sheet. Stuff on the internet. I've seen stuff on the internet. This is how you become a Christian, or, maybe not that, but they have, lessons on the internet, which is fine, you can't learn it without a fellowship of believers. First of all, you can't be converted without having another Christian influence your life, another born-again Christian. It's not a supposed Christian or whatever religious Christian that is not born again cannot convert anybody, because he can't even convert himself. Jesus said, you'll quote this parable to me, physician, heal yourself. If you're really a doctor and then you're sick, then heal yourself. If you can't heal yourself, then why should we believe you, was a saying. Jesus said that was a good saying. You cannot be taught the gospel. You cannot be born again. Really know the gospel other than just words that Jesus died for you. It's not enough. It's not enough. It's not enough. I know from personal experience it's not enough. It wasn't enough for me. It did not affect my life. When it started affecting my life, when the rubber started hitting the road, then, you know, my God, did it make a difference. I was changed immediately, but I didn't mean it took time. It took people. It took people. I needed to be around other Christians, other people who had been born again. Not just people that said they're Christians, because those people, you know, are still in their sins. As Paul would say, they're still in their sins. You need to have contact for growth. You need to have contact for salvation. You cannot be saved just because you decide to. You cannot be saved because you read the Bible. You can't be saved because you go through a study guide on the internet or on paper. You can't, or in a book or whatever. And you cannot, you have to have contact with a person, and you cannot grow without help. Just like children need to develop before they can take care of themselves.